In high-stress moments, your mind is programmed to betray you. Your physiology triggers a predictable, microscopic chain reaction. Take the 2011 Navy SEAL candidate class. These were 185 men who could swim for miles in the open ocean and run for hours carrying heavy logs. They were the most physically fit humans on the planet. Yet during Hell Week, enduring 5.5 days of continuous training, 75% of them quit. Instructors found that these candidates rarely failed due to physical exhaustion. Instead, their nervous systems collapsed under the psychological pressure. This collapse is driven by a biological mechanism called an amygdala hijack. When a threat appears, the brain's fear center, the amygdala, floods the bloodstream with adrenaline and cortisol. These chemicals physically shut down the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for logical reasoning, forcing the brain into a primitive panic state. Mental fragility in extreme moments is a biological default. But it is a default that can be manually overridden. The first override habit elite performers use to regain control is tactical respiration, commonly known as box breathing. This diagram traces the exact 16-second cycle: a 4-second deep inhalation, holding for 4 seconds, a 4-second exhalation, and holding empty. Conscious control activates the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling safety, lowering cortisol, and restarting critical thinking. Box breathing provides a deliberate, manual arrest of a biological panic spike. The second habit focuses on cognitive conditioning. It is an ancient practice known as premeditatio malorum, the deliberate pre-visualization of worst-case scenarios. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius used this method as part of his daily mental training. He rehearsed potential losses and setbacks to maintain his equanimity against unexpected blows. Pre-visualizing a specific worst-case scenario engages the prefrontal cortex to dampen the amygdala's future reactivity. This is fundamentally different from modern doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is erratic and passive. Premeditatio malorum is a focused exercise to cognitively disarm a specific threat. By exposing your mind to the worst outcome in advance, you strengthen your prefrontal control before the event actually occurs. Failing to train this top-down cognitive control has severe biological consequences. An unmanaged acute stress response repeatedly floods the brain with toxic levels of cortisol. Chronic exposure to this cortisol physically degrades the brain. It frays the structural neural pathways connecting your logic center to your fear center. As those pathways decay, the brain leans heavily on the default mode network, which locks you into a permanent state of self-critical rumination and worry. Chronic stress causes physical structural decay that traps the brain in an inescapable loop of anxiety. To prevent this structural decay, elite performers use a third, extreme habit: deliberate cold exposure. There is a proven legacy of using extreme cold to forge mental toughness and force physiological adaptation. Stepping into ice water triggers an immediate biological alarm. It causes a massive sympathetic nervous system spike, sending signals to your brain that you are dying. By choosing to stay in the water despite those signals, you force top-down executive control over your rawest survival instincts. This daily psychological boot camp trains your vagus nerve. It teaches your body to maintain composure, even when your system is flooded with adrenaline. Under the crushing weight of real-world stress, no one magically rises to the occasion. You sink to the exact baseline of your biological conditioning. Expose yourself to the cold, visualize the worst, and control your breath. Consistently applying these protocols builds the resilience required to keep your mind from shattering under pressure.